Hey everybody, Dr. Ray Blue here, and this is my movie review of Deepwater Horizon, directed by Peter Berg and starring Mark Wahlberg, John Malkovich, and Kurt Russell. Deepwater Horizon was an offshore drilling rig owned by Transocean and leased to British Petroleum from 2001 to 2013, during which time the rig drilled the deepest oil well in history. In 2010, an uncontrollable blowout caused a massive oil spill in the Gulf of Mexico, which came to be the largest eco-disaster in history. The explosion cost the lives of 11 people, and oil gushed out of control for 87 days. The film is really focused on the people that experienced the event and what they went through, rather than getting preachy or becoming an indictment of BP and its managers. I was actually hoping for a bit more dirt on BP's face, but the film does well in focusing on its target and its narrative of purpose. Now, when you're watching a movie like this, one that's based on a true and tragic event, you know from the beginning of the film that no matter what, things are going to eventually turn horrible. So it's hard to make them suspenseful a lot of the time, since the audience already really knows what's in store for them. Still, the film has an intense tone and builds up in its suspense and holds it until everything goes to hell. Mark Wahlberg does a fine job portraying Mike Williams, the chief electronics technician, and is quite believable in the role and really gives one of his best performances. Somehow he's always just Mark Wahlberg for me though. The one and only John Malkovich gives a great performance per usual as Donald Vadrine, a greedy BP corporate drone ignoring all concerns for higher earnings, and I think his accent was my favorite part. And Kurt Russell in his usual form, and fits the part also as old-timer Jimmy Harrell, the safety expert whose warnings of danger are ignored until it's too late. The actors all do a nice job performing the technical and mechanical operations of the drilling rig with confidence, and not only does that add to the realism of the film, but it also really helped avoid any need to explain much of what they were doing. You didn't really need to know anything or what a button did or such, just that, they seemed good at what they were doing. It all helped to suspend disbelief, and you really could just sit and watch it all unfold. By bringing up the poor conditions of the Horizon, Russell and Wahlberg's characters ruffle the feathers of Malkovich, who has been pushing his workers and their supervisors to ignore signs of trouble rather than get behind schedule and risk the loss of profits. This doesn't end well as pressure breaks through like it has the tendency to do and disaster strikes. The majority of the film is the experience of the resulting sequence of horrible explosions and fires, killer jetting streams of seawater, oil, and mud. The film has a gritty realism to it that I liked, and it made the whole experience that much more real for the viewer, I think. Once the chaos begins to unfold, the film becomes much more like other films of the past, but much more fiery explosions and carnage, and all with good special effects and graphic sequences that brought a good deal of realism. It didn't feel too much like you were just watching a bunch of CGI fire and explosions. It made you feel the brunt of the explosion and the impact on people. The ending showed some real footage of the actual crew, and that was interesting, but it's always hard to know where the real story and Hollywood begins to blur. Not really a film that I would need to see multiple times, but it's well worth checking out, and for some good suspense and pyromaniac action that real people actually had to go through. The real story behind the film is more interesting, and the film may entice deeper research into the topic. All in all, a well-made suspenseful action film based on real events of the Deepwater Horizon drilling rig. Thank you for watching. Please comment below with your thoughts. Don't forget to subscribe, tell your friends, and help spread the madness.